My childhood days were spent in a kampong at foothills of Mount Faber. There was like only one TV in the whole kampong, and nobody watched TV, and we spent our days either swimming in the canal, climbing fruit trees to collect rambutans, or catching spiders. That's where I think my love for outdoors first got into me. I think Jewel for me is like moving back to my childhood. I get to do those things that I did as a young boy outdoors, looking after plants and looking for insects, looking after the nature in Jewel itself. Today I have the whole of outdoors in an indoor setting. That is really very fulfilling.
In the wee hours, we still have concierge team roving at night.
So what happens at night is we're looking for arrival guests that is lost at night that need our help. We also look for guests that is just sleeping.
Yes. We need to check them time to time so that they will not miss their respective flight.
Excuse me. Hello, ni hao.
Guests in the daytime are much more active. They have a lot more questions and inquiries. Compared to the guests at night, they are much more sleepier, and usually they won't ask so much questions at night as well.
不好意思，请问这是你的吗？这个水壶不是吗 ？OK， 好，谢谢。
After hours, when our concierge counter is closed, when we found a lost item, we will actually hand over to our Jewel Ops manager to do a found report.
Mostly we found gadgets like laptop, iPad, especially cell phone. When I was in level 2 north, I found a wallet. It's around $700 inside the wallet. And the guest is very happy that I found the wallet.
People think Jewel is very quiet at night. Actually, yes, we do have lesser crowd in the evening, but after the wee hours, there's actually still a lot of activities going around. For example, the maintenance team who are still maintaining as well as cleaning our rain vortex and attractions in Jewel. We still have the landscaping team who is working on our landscaping features.
Jewel actually comes alive after 10 p.m. for us, because the work we have to do to take care of the plants has to happen after visitors have left the garden. It's almost like the garden is alive 24 hours. When everybody else sleeps, we come alive and start maintaining the plant, make sure everything is good for the next day. We break into small teams. Group of people do pruning, some people do insect spraying, and some do plant washing. Spray evenly. Make sure all parts of the fern column get the water. Okay, not too much excessive water on one side itself. Spread it out evenly.
So I think to date, Jewel has on average received 250 to 300,000 daily visitors, and the number continue to grow. If you look through your Insta stories, your Facebook, your social media, you definitely see our hero shots are our Shiseido Forest Valley and also our HSBC Rain Vortex. So these are the two attractions that people will definitely come for.
The HSBC Rain Vortex Light and Sound Show will be starting soon.
Okay, so before every light and sound show, we will do what we call a pre-show checks. This is just to ensure all the equipments and systems that are supposed to be running are functioning correctly. What we are looking at is to ensure that the pump is running within the allowable range. This is to ensure that there is sufficient water flow to the acrylic skin. This is our main water tank. This is where all the water comes to collect. So basically from basement 3, the water will be pumped out all the way to level 5. A lot of people may not know, but the waterfall water itself is actually treated, and it's super clean.
People come all over Singapore, even from foreign countries, to come and witness this unique and iconic feature that Jewel has to offer. We have to deliver on our end to make sure that the guest really receives the full light and sound show.
Before the show, Tim and myself will go down to the site to do a pre-show checks. It's the projectors to turn on, to make sure that all the speaker is on as well. Make sure that all the pumps in working condition. Sometimes Wi-Fi connection have a glitch, so we have to manage it. So we have to find the proper connection on it.
This iPad controls the rain vortex and the things that come with it, like the fog, the lights and all that. So when I was handed the iPad, it was with me at all times. Wherever I go, whatever I do, it's always by my side, more important than my handphone. This iPad is really my precious baby.
Rain vortex system was created by an American consultant, which is called Wet Design. So in the beginning, the American consultant is the only one who can hold this iPad and operate this.
So me and Alex, we had to work with them. We had to gain their trust for a good 2-3 months before they actually allow us to touch the iPad and control the rain vortex operations itself.
The first day we hold this iPad, I still remember the date, on 13th of April.
Me, Alex and the wet consultant, we were walking at level 5 and he felt the urge to go to the toilet for some reason. And that was when he actually handed over the iPad to us, unofficially.
And he passed us the iPad and both of us feel very excited, and eventually we took a selfie. Yeah, everything looks fine. The light and sound show will play on as per schedule.
So during the show, there will be 2 teams. One will be at the Forest Valley that will be observing the show. The other team will be below to ensure that the servers and the systems are online and not faulty at all.
People see rain vortex as just a waterfall, but actually there are much more elements behind it, such as the lighting, the background music, the speakers, and as well as projectors. So this is what the public won't normally see, but in our eyes, this is what we look out for.
If everything goes well, goes smoothly, we can go home, sleep easy, knowing that we have done our job in that sense,
When I came in, Jewel itself was a construction site. There wasn't any waterfall yet. So it didn't really impress me at that point of time. So once they started to do the testing and commissioning, where they started to throw the water out, that was when it really struck me, wow, this is magnificent. Jewel for me, in the daytime, is all about running the operations. But in the nighttime, I get this feeling of serenity and calmness because of its ambience.
In the night, it's much more peaceful. You really get to enjoy the tranquility of this place because it's such a forest area concept. We really get to be together with nature, I guess.
Many of the work starts close to midnight. So I just want you to cut a little bit of those that are slightly out of shape. Time for the olive tree to be given a nice haircut. One of the things that's really stuck on our mind was the planting of the olive trees. The whole night, it took us 6 hours just to plant 2 trees because we didn't want any of the limbs of the branches of the trees to break. And then lifting them up from level 1 to level 5 was a very slow, painful project, painful task. And then it took us a long time because we wanted to get it right, especially even to the detail of placing it in such a way that it gives people the best angle to be viewed at. Here in Jewel, we have something like 2,200 trees and palms, 100,000 shrubs from about just 120 different species. For the plants, we went as far as Australia, Florida, Spain, Thailand, Indonesia, Malaysia. Some interesting ficus that we call ficus snake forms. We got them in China. We were traveling from one nursery to another, and then along the way we saw these beautiful plants. It was never in the planting plan, so we thought that we will just get them and then later we will decide where they fit into the garden. And it turned out very well and they fit beautifully into the canopy park.
We are now inside the water skin of the rain vortex. This is a view of Jewel that not a lot of people manage to see. So, as with all water features, people tend to make their well wishes and just throw coins inside the fountain itself. Okay, so when we find coins, we will just safe keep.
You should be here in the night to experience this. Very, very peaceful. You really have time to observe the rain vortex in its true beauty, no one obstructing and all that. So you really get to see how rain vortex is such a complex system, and yet it is so, so beautiful.
For experience rangers, we manage the day-to-day operations of all the attractions here at level 5. After the park closes, we'll actually do a thorough check on all of the attractions. For example, the mirror maze, we have to check to ensure there's no cracks in the mirrors, the area is clean, and all the lights and sound effects are all working just to ensure that it's good for the next day operations. H maze also will do a thorough check. We are checking if there's any overgrown plants that is too far out into the pathway. So we will need to activate the landscape team to trim it aside. We have the walking nets here. We will check all of our ropes, make sure there's no sharp wires sticking out, ensure that all the metal compartments are all in place. My first experience on the nets was pretty scary because the moment I hit the peak and then I look down, it kind of freezes me up. So luckily for my friend, he was there to guide me throughout, and I wouldn't have made it to the end if not for him. Most of the guests at the start, they seem very confident, but the moment they start to look down, because it's 5 stories high, they kind of just stand still and refuse to go down. So the experienced rangers here are actually quite used to it, so they will offer a helping hand for them. I saw a lady all the way from the start. She was crawling because she was too scared. So I came up to her, but as we got closer to the end, I saw a guy filming us. She said, "That's my husband. He left me alone here," because the husband was just too scared also to help her. So luckily I was there for her. When I was a kid, I like to spend my time at a playground because that's where all the neighborhood kids are, so that's like our hangout spot. My particular playground had a net, so I kind of relive my memory a little bit here. Working here at a giant playground makes me feel like a kid again because I get to play without people judging me, like, you know, what's a grown-up girl doing at a playground again? Okay, this looks like it's fun, but it's usually for work purposes. So I got to try out the slides, just like I do before opening. We check the safety of the slides, but at the same time, it's like an excuse to enjoy a little bit as well. Here I go. After the park closes, where it's much quieter, sometimes I'll just spend a few minutes to see the planes take off and land, which is, I think, pretty nice to end the day with.
Thank you for waiting, ladies and gentlemen. We've invited first class. Now we're inviting executive platinum, emerald, sapphire, and ruby if those boards are written on.
The difference between day and night flights are day flights we are a little busier and we get to interact with more passengers, while the night flights are a little more quieter and tranquil. I'm a very active person and I like freedom. As an air stewardess, flying allows me to be at different places at different times. And on top of that, I get to interact with a lot of people across different cultures. Once my colleagues and we were taking a sky train. When the sky train went through the forest valley in Jewel, we came across the rain vortex. So the travelers in the sky train actually asked us what was that. And that being our first time seeing it, we are all in awe as well. We burst out laughing because the reaction time was slow. It took us like about 3 or 5 seconds before we turned and answered the travelers what was that we just viewed. After long periods of traveling, 10 over hours of flight, when we see the lights in Singapore at the airport, it feels really good to be back home and captains make the announcement for us to prepare for arrival. It means coming back home to your loved ones and having our own local delights. Having traveled so often, I came to appreciate the simple things that we have in Singapore. I still remember when I was young, Marina Square was just like a sea, but now look at the skyline. So it feels like, wow, Singapore has actually evolved and changed over the years.
I think at the heart of it, that's what Singapore is really known for. We reinvented what a garden should be. With Jewel, we reinvented what an airport could be. The travel and tourism landscape continues to evolve. Travelers are becoming increasingly discerning. They know what they want. They go out and look and discover for all these hidden gems to really get to know the destination. And there's always something new to love and discover about Singapore. Singapore by day and Singapore by night sometimes is completely two different destinations. Beyond your bars, your clubs at night, it's also a great place for families at night. There was the Singapore Night Festival. At Little India, there was the Little India Art Walk. From day to nighttime, you'll definitely find something that you'll love to do here in Singapore.
When we set out to do Jewel, I think we were very clear we wanted it to be a tourism product. We wanted to put it on the global map. We wanted it to be a place where if you're a tourist far and wide, you would want to come to Singapore because you've heard of this place. And I think we were really overwhelmed by the positive response. We never expected to have so many followers on Instagram. Obviously, social media is the thing of today. And like people always ask me, so you should have a lot of pictures. And the irony is, if you look through my phone, actually when I do, it's pictures of, look, this thing is crooked. Hey, why is the tree leaning? Because it's about what we need to fix. So I end up having not so nice pictures of Jewel. And I think now that it's complete and I have sort of less of that to do, there is more opportunity to take better pictures.
I saw all the social media pictures of Jewel before I went. So I have to say that my expectations were pretty high when I first went to Jewel myself. And yet, I think seeing it up close, seeing it by myself with my own eyes, I was still very, very much impressed.
Singapore always pride ourselves as a garden city. Jewel is almost like the climax of it. We want visitors coming into Singapore and leaving Singapore to have this thing that they have stepped into a garden city. The question I get asked most often is, are the plants real? Because I think people are so surprised. How did they manage to get so much of greenery into an indoor environment? Reminds me of my young days when I used to catch spiders just for the fun of it. But actually, I'm now just looking for pests. So you can see a bit of mealybugs, which is quite common on indoor plant things. When the team of architects first presented their idea for Jewel, and then they showed us all these beautiful renderings of the landscape and all, I thought to myself, either these guys must be joking or everybody here is crazy. To be very frank, I thought it was near to impossible because the biggest challenge for growing plants indoor has always been light. We need to get the light levels correct. The key to that was choosing the correct glass type, the glass that allows maximum light in but cutting out the radiant heat.
The Jewel glass facade is very interesting. It has more than 9,000 different glass, and each of them are of different dimensions. So each panel is special. It has 3 glass layers. It keeps the heat out, lets the sunlight in, and allows the plants to thrive. Cleaning such a complex glass structure requires a lot of coordination with different parties. And more importantly, the people come in have to clean quadrant by quadrant and work their way downwards.
Currently, our projects team is doing the internal facade cleaning. As you can see, there's a lot of glass panels and they need to do it one by one, and it gets quite tedious, and it has to be done on a very regular basis to keep the place shiny. A lot of the cleaning has to be done at night because that's when the crowd level comes down. That includes the cleaning of periodic works, such as high dusting and those light fittings that cannot be done during the day. Then you'll have escalator cleaning, and of course, not forgetting the toilet flushing that we have. We have to do a thorough cleaning of all the toilets. The attractions that are interesting to clean will be the mirror maze, the canopy bridge, as well as the sky nets. What's challenging part is the sky net because there's 3 layers of nets. It's a challenge to retrieve the items or dry leaves in between all these nets. The mirror maze can only be done at night and when the lightings are low, when the park closes. So at times, you might be walking into the mirror.
Okay, now I'm cleaning the mirror maze for the fingerprints. First started at mirror maze, I lost the way out to clean every single finger mark. After 3 days, once I overcome the place, should be no problem for me.
So our central kitchen starts really early in the morning. We start at 2 a.m. before anyone is up. We make our kueh. Each one is individually handmade, handcrafted into these tiny little delicacies. We have to make sure that whatever we do is real, it's authentic. And that's why we still want to do it by hand. You know, our ondeh ondeh is still done by hand. Our kueh dadar is still hand rolled individually. Our kueh lapis is still hand layered, layer by layer. And that's why we start at 2 a.m. in the mornings, to make sure that the best and freshest products goes out to all over Singapore. Our first trip out of the central kitchen is at about 8 a.m. in the morning. And then throughout the day, we make the kueh. And as the kueh is done, they'll go out with the trips island-wide. So from Jurong all the way to Changi. And also, of course, at Jewel. So our store at Jewel is our flagship store. So we try to make it a little bit different by using elements of like Peranakan floral motifs. We've used batik because that's part of our heritage.
So how long does it take to make one cake?
About 1.5 to 2 hours. And we also have a demonstration counter. So this demonstration counter, you can see how a kueh lapis is done layer by layer, one by one. So that's something that's a bit unique. You keep compressing it down, you make sure that you get the, as I said, make it even so it's flat.
Very fast.
Yeah, it takes a lot of time. When Mignon Solo started in 1979, 40 years ago, we had pandan chiffon. So we have had tourists from China, from Hong Kong, from Taiwan, even from Japan. They come here, they want to get something that's truly local, they'll get a pandan chiffon cake. Travelers who come to our Jewel store, they buy something from us. What we sell at our store here is exactly what you get at a store in Ang Mo Kio or Toa Payoh. It's really what Singaporeans and locals have been eating for generations.
Food is an enormous part of Singapore's culture, partly because we're immigrants. In those days, when people immigrated, it was through hunger or famine or flood. And to be able to eat well is a sign of success. Everyone in Singapore is a connoisseur. I think you'll find that if you're in a taxi, the taxi driver is equally a gourmet and can tell you exactly how this fish is steamed. And I think that's amazing to many people from around the world. For, I think, Singaporeans, food is actually the ties that bind. We have a photo walls that actually tell of our history and our food culture. And along here, which is very interesting, we have the chefs known as the 4 heavenly kings of Singapore food. They came together to create Yi Sang, which is our famous Singapore sort of celebration raw fish dish for the Chinese New Year. And here is my aunt, my mak ko, teaching you how to pound in a sarong kebaya in a very elegant way. And in the olden days, a future mother-in-law will visit homes of girls of marriageable age in the morning and listen to the pounding and see if this girl can cook or not, If she cannot pound, that means she can't cook. Okay, not for my son. Okay. We do have a sense of pride in being in Jewel. It's so important because it's at the airport. It's a gateway for people to visit us. And we wanted to have a taste of, some of our Malay food, which is satay. We have our fish curry, which comes from our Little India. We are actually presenting the whole of Asia on the table. Hello, Viola. Oh my God. And this is our Horlicks cake. Bon appetit.
Thank you.
As a Singaporean personally, I'm very proud that almost half of the brands here are Singapore brands. And because Changi Airport and Jewel is such an international location, it would be a good place to showcase these brands. Singapore meets the world and the world meets Singapore is a tagline that we've always had for Jewel.
So one of the things that will strike you most when you enter Jewel is this lush greenery and the sound of the waterfall falling down from the vortex. See all these glass, they allow the natural light to come in the day. So we don't have to make use of energy to power the lighting within the dome.
So obviously we come from the angle of the user and we think of what they would like to feel and see when they come to such a beautiful place. If you walk around, you will see some robots that are located strategically around the mall. They'll be able to serve you water, serve you sweets. To us, they're also a little attraction.
I am Peter. Every day I patrol the drop-off point at Jewel. Whenever I spot immobile automobiles or loitering lorries, my job is to get them to move on. No obstructing traffic on my watch.
Hello. Is it me you're looking for? My name is Yoji. If guests need a thirst quencher while staying at Hotel Air, just give me a ring. and I come a-rolling. Room service. More like robot service.
Welcome to Jewel. Please select the stop button for a complimentary drink. And when anyone needs to cool down or a pick-me-up at the Canopy Park, just stop me for some water and candy.
So our robots, the minute they come out, you can see people taking Instagram and just crowding around it. So to us, they are little stars.
We do have a unique experience in Jewel where our concept team will actually perform. We have a colleague called Arvin, who is a magician. And during our training, he is actually telling us that he loves to do magic tricks as a hobby. So we actually encourage him to showcase his talent on ground.
Okay, I just say stop whenever you want. Okay, just say stop. 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 Look at your card. Don't show it to me. You can show it to your mom. You put it inside. Okay. Okay, mom, you can just keep this.
Okay, mommy, keep this.
I need your palm. You're gonna take a picture with your hands. Okay. This fella is gonna pick your card out. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, see. Look at this, Was that yours? This was your card, right? Yeah. I've been practicing magic since, when I was a teenager. 12 to 13 years old, I've started. I watch a lot of David Blaine shows and street magic tricks and all. So I got interested. When I come to work, I'm so happy, I can do card tricks. Every day I do it, so it's not really a job. It's a very good feeling to delight, guests while doing card magic tricks, and I get delighted double the amount. I need you guys to pick any card. Okay, you don't have to show it to me, show it to them. I usually practice whenever I'm free, during breaks and after office hours. Yeah, whenever I get time, I practice. Being able to work and also do my hobby, it's a great thing. I will never stop this. Okay, it wouldn't be there because it's in my pocket. Wow. Oh my God, good job.
Thank you.
So this is a photo of my baby. This was our preview for the public. So I guess my baby was amazed by the lights that was on show, that he opened his mouth and actually stared at the light for a good 1 minute. So when I saw him opening his mouth like that, I felt proud. I think I will keep showing him this photo once he grows up to make sure that he remembers it. When I first started my job in Jewel, my son was just born and he was just 10 days old. I was also taking my part-time studies in uni. So a typical day for me would be to come at work at 8:30 and we will end at about 12 to 1 a.m. So basically it was the most tiring and painful time.
It was hard at first. It was difficult being first-time mom, I would say. And it's our first baby, so him not being at home, it was kind of tough.
Nice. Yes. Ow. My wife being a supportive wife, she made a compromise to actually came down to the airport itself to have dinner with me so that we can at least spend time together in the day. So that is how I managed to balance and manage my family time as well. But at the end of the day, I felt that it was a good opportunity and I was very happy that I was able to went through it.
I think the unsung heroes in delivering this project has to be all the loved ones around the people in the team. People around us, people who have to pick up the slack at home and really see us through the ups and downs. Those are the true unsung heroes.
We change the garden quarterly, so the theme for this round is autumn. So we will change out the orchids in one of the orchid trees to suit the colours of the new season.
We'll change this first. It will take about 3 to 4 hours. And then later we'll try to change it. If not, we'll go for this tomorrow.
Leading up to opening, there were days where we had to work up to 2, 3 a.m. because we had to make sure that everything is done correctly. I have a young daughter, she is under 2 years old. Because I have to work nights at times, by the time I reach home, she will be fast asleep. So in the day, I'll make sure that, before I go to work, I get to spend some time with her. So at least every day I still get to see her. Lucky for me, I have very good support from my family. My mom is the main carer. This actually let me be able to focus at work, knowing that she's in good hands. So on a daily basis, I would walk around and check on all the trees. So one of the trees that we have been monitoring is this tree. We have observed browning of the tips of the leaves. So hopefully it will recover soon. So after O-levels, we got our results. Then my secondary school teacher, he's nice enough to set a few of us down, and he felt that this landscape field was meant for me. Because I was always very involved with sports, doing a lot of outdoor activities, and not the quiet kind of girl. So he felt that this suits me. I guess I was a good girl. I listened to his advice. I applied for the course, did my diploma, did my degree, and here I am doing what I enjoy.
So right now we're preparing for Jewel's grand opening that's happening in 2 days' time. We're expecting close to 700 guests to join us, and logistically it's been quite a challenge because it's the first time we're hosting an event within Shiseido Forest Valley. So right now we're on stage, and this is where our launch mechanism is going to be. Our guest of honor, Prime Minister, and our VIPs will be pressing a button during the ceremony. So Jewel has been open for the last 6 months. However, with the press of this button, it will officiate Jewel's grand opening.
So one of the key highlights that we will have for the official opening ceremony is that we will try and surprise the guests by introducing a new light and sound show. It will be around a song that was written specially for this new show and for the HSBC Rain Vortex.
Dick Lee approached me and shared with me his ideas and plan for the song to write together. I've always been waiting for a right time, an opportunity to do something in Singapore, for Singapore, to the world, connecting different cultures and people. I was very looking forward to it. We thought of the image of the vortex and how it would come together with the light show. We wanted to write a song that could be epic, but at the same time, very intimate.
We will be unveiling a new light and sound show for Jewel opening ceremony. We are doing the last fine-tuning. I can't tell you now because it's a secret and surprise for everyone. On the day itself, I will be the one who is responsible to trigger the show. Very pressure.
So we opened Jewel to the public in April, and then we had our second phase of the Canopy Park opening in June, and then now we have the official opening ceremony in October. It's a ceremonious occasion. The essence is truly to celebrate what everyone has achieved.
The Jewel official opening to me is like the opening in April all over again. The preview period was definitely challenging. We all work around the clock. We had to stay at Yotel Air just so we can catch some sleep in between.
During the preview week, it was an estimated 600,000 pax for 7 days, and imagining 100,000 people coming to the mall on a daily basis. It's intense. The bin gets filled up about every 15 minutes, and guys have to literally run around with the bin liners and then get the bins changed as quickly as possible before the bin gets overflowing.
On the first few days of opening is really hectic. There was a long queue in many of the shops and restaurants, and as well as during the light and sound show, there was a big crowd around the Rain Vortex. A lot of the travelers actually shared with me that they flew into Singapore just to see the opening of Jewel.
Okay, so for the very first light and sound show that was shown to public, this is where we were watching it from. I still can't forget the day. I was standing at level 5 with Alex. We were watching the show from there itself.
Before the day of preview, there is still fine-tuning of the light and sound show. So during the first show, 7:30, the show was the first perfect show that we ever got. Both of us are very nervous, and both of us are praying for the first show to public to go smoothly.
The Forest Valley was actually packed with people. Actually, everything went to plan. After the end of the show, people actually gave us a round of applause. I think it took us by surprise, but at the same time, it gives us a great sense of satisfaction.
So setup will continue throughout the rest of tonight and also for tomorrow. We are doing rehearsals, and after that, it's show day.
Today is the official opening for Jewel, so as you can see, we have already closed off the entire Forest Valley in preparation for it.
Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together and warmly welcome our guest of honor this evening, Prime Minister Lee Hsien Loong and Mrs. Lee.
Jewel has become one of the instantly recognizable icons of Singapore. Every facet of it is brilliant. Singaporeans are proud of Jewel, and rightly so. It resonates with us because it reminds us that when we dream big and apply ourselves, nothing is impossible.
Ladies and gentlemen, for this historic countdown, may I invite you to join me, please? 1, 2, 3.
Who would have imagined that when we decided to shift our airport from Paya Lebar to Changi, that one day we would make it the best airport in the world? May Jewel long continue to sparkle and bring joy to Singaporeans and visitors alike.
And as long as I believe what I believe,
I've been hearing comments from my friends from other countries, and they were like, hey, I heard that there's a place in Singapore, the Jewel, called the Jewel, coming up. When I saw it for myself, I was very excited because I felt like, wow, this is going to be a place where the whole world will want to come here to just experience it.
I think what's great about Jewel is that it's also our airport. And so to me, I feel like it sort of checks plenty of boxes in terms of what Singapore represents and what Singapore stands for. It's really enjoyed not just by visitors, but also very much by Singaporeans themselves.
I want to say no other citizen feel the same way about their airport as Singaporeans do. We've always set out for Jewel to be a place where people can build fond memories.
It was officially open. Cheers.
I think the team that was involved in Jewel, it definitely was a passionate and committed team. The fact that today it's almost symbolic as a Singapore icon makes us all very proud.
It's a wrap.
So this is the picture of my parents. This is my mom, my dad, and my husband who visited me when Canopy Park first opened. I think one of the memorable things that I want to share is my parents came to me and said, I don't remember how you look like anymore. The only time I can come and meet you is to literally come to Changi Airport and meet you for dinner. But after they come in and they saw the opening, I think this is the part where they will feel with pride and they understand why I put so much time and effort into it.
So I actually spent a lot of time in work, especially late night with Rainbow-Tex with the American consultant. My mom actually feel like I'm spending lesser time for her. When my mom first came to Jewel to see Rainbow-Tex, and she finally understood that how her son perks, and she was proud of her son, which is me.
When we first opened Jewel, I had friends who have lost contact for the last 15 years, 20 years, who have suddenly found me and said, hey, I saw your work at Jewel and I think it's a fantastic. It was nice that Jewel made me get in touch with friends who have lost contact for the last 15, 20 years.
I have this gynecologist that I visit from time to time. Every time I see her, she'll be like, you know, I'm so proud of you. You know, I'll be telling my other patients, you know, I know that girl who does up the landscape in Jewel. I think she's really very proud of me. So one of the comments that I remember vividly was they were saying that they feel so proud to be a Singaporean, that, you know, Jewel became icon to the world, and good job to the team behind Jewel. So seeing comments like this make me feel that all the late nights that I have spent in Jewel is all worth it.
The official opening ceremony. It definitely feels like one milestone, like it's the end of all the openings that we've had, but it also feels like a next chapter. It's time to decide which attractions do we want to refresh. It's time to plan the first Christmas, and before long, the first anniversary.
It's just the first chapter of the book. The consultants and the architects have done their part, helping us to realize this dream. And now it is for the team and myself to carry the baby forward. It is not going to be easy. It's going to be very challenging. We look forward to it. Every day is going to be a different day.